Welcome everyone to Tuesday Tribe. Good to see you. Before we start today's circle, our practice of Tuesday Tribe, please share in the chat where you're tuning in from today, and I'll read a couple of these shares before we welcome ourselves into today's practice. And as we're beginning a new year and a new chapter, I will share a little bit more about how the direction for Tuesday Tribe will take a small shift, a very small but powerful shift. Morning, Marilyn. Good to see you. Michelle just shared in the chat as well, tuning in from Northern Ontario in Canada. Good morning. Welcome back, Cliff. Good to see you. Cliff shared in the chat. Good day to all in Minneapolis. Kira just shared in the chat. Good day and Happy New Year from the Netherlands. Deb just shared in the chat. Hi from a very windy UK. CJ, welcome back. CJ Shed kicking off this year with you from Northern California. I'll leave a few more moments for some of these shares to come in the chat. In the meanwhile, the chat remains open if you'd like to share where you are tuning in from. And Gia Shed, hello from a cloudy New Mexico. Bethany, welcome back. Bethany Shed, hello and Happy New Year from New York. Welcome everyone, and firstly, Happy New Year. I hope you had a great ending or a great closure to the last year, and more importantly, a happy, a joyful, a peaceful transition into this new year. And if this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Wen Ling. I am a mindfulness, wellbeing, and creativity coach here on InsightTimer. Some of you may know me in my capacity as also someone who is an instructor of Qigong and yoga. I have various different tools in my tool belt, and I whip out the right tool depending on whatever is necessary in the moment. So Tuesday Tribe, if you are new to Tuesday Tribe, I want to extend a warm welcome to you and welcome you into our Tuesday Tribe. Before we start today's session, a few housekeeping things. As today's session will take slightly longer. You might have seen from the event duration itself, it will take probably around 1.5 hours, maybe slightly longer with the Q&A, knowing myself and knowing the interactions we tend to have. Those of you who were here with me last week will know that sometimes, things come up. So at any point of time, if you need to hop off for your next appointment, your next commitment with someone else or something else, make sure you have time for yourself, a little buffer in between so you can transition from our time together into maybe your own space or your space with someone else. This is really, really important to take time in between and to allow that smooth and gradual transition. And a little bit about Tuesday Tribe. So if you joined us today, chances are likely you were attracted by today's session because of the title of today's session, which is called Tuesday Tribe, or perhaps you were attracted to the title of today's session because it's called Beat Procrastination, or perhaps the moving meditation. There's so much in today's session. And let me give you an overview also because from my understanding, there isn't anything quite like this yet on InsightTimer, and I've not also found anything quite like this anywhere else. So let me walk you through what we will be experiencing today so you can get an understanding of that before we start. And then we're going to dive into the process. So Tuesday Tribe started off as an accountability community, a community where that conceptualized over 5 years ago. And we started off with in-person gatherings in Singapore, where I'm from. I was born and bred and grew up in Singapore. Now I live in Europe, in the north of Italy. Hello, Suzanne. Welcome back. And and Happy New Year to you. And now, Tuesday Tribe has taken many different forms. I've organized these community gatherings where we all harnessing the power of this community connection and other things, including mirroring, including, for example, body doubling, this positive social peer pressure to really support ourselves to take imperfect action and that is so important to get beyond the procrastination, get beyond the overthinking. Now, many of you also know me in my capacity as a Qigong, yoga, somatics, meditation guide, a coach as well. And I've always, for a long time, my dream has been to use these tools to empower people to take action to realize their dreams. Because what I've seen very often is after sessions, we meditate and we find this sense of inner peace, and that's great. And then the inner peace goes away. There's no, it drifts away, or it's very hard to keep that sense of inner peace or keep that sense of agency, that creativity. And so my dream has always been to fuel and empower people to take inspired yet imperfect action in the world, because this is how we will realize our dreams, not simply by sitting and meditating. Yes, we can find inner peace and we can cultivate a sense of contentment from within. And yes, there must be inner work, but this inner work must be also married with the outer work on the outside, so that there's this union in and out. And so this has always been my dream. And what we're doing today is a combination of both. So we will start with, this is my proposal and my experiment for the new year. We will see how it goes for you, for me, and for all of us, that we start with a moving meditation practice. It will have some roots in Qigong. Those of you who have practiced Qigong with me may recognize some forms. Perhaps they may be something that comes up from the lineage of yoga as well. So I'm also a yoga teacher and I've studied with various different teachers, and I like to blend these different practices. And then after this moving meditation, the intention is to drop into the body, because what happens when we procrastinate is very often we're stuck here in the mind, overthinking, worrying about fear of failure, worrying about not having enough time, not being worthy, all kinds of things. But the point is not to stay here, but to really drop into the body, because the body is our most outer layer. And those of you who were here with me last week, when we were talking about the end of year retreat, I talked about the 5 sheaths, or the 5 layers, the koshas of your being. And the most superficial layer of your being is the physical body. So the physical body, that is your key to accessing the present moment. So when you notice you are too much up here and you are overthinking, anxious, afraid, drop into the body, create a sense of safety and security, and then notice if there's anything inside of you, anxiety, overthinking, stuck feelings, emotions, thoughts, that wants to move through you. So the intention behind this moving meditation practice is to allow this stuckness to flow and to unblock this stuckness, so then we can have this fluid flowing energy that is throughout the whole of your being. And we drop even further into your body using a little bit of breathing techniques to connect with your energy body. And that's the more subtle layer of your body. Beyond the physical body, there's the pulsating energy body. And then after that, we reach a state of equilibrium. So not too upregulated, neither are we too downregulated. We're in this state of equilibrium. So there's energy, but it's a balanced form of energy. It's not a crazy, frenzied form of energy. Neither is it dull or fatigue kind of state. It is somewhere in between, and we want to be there, in that energized yet really sharp, calm, and tranquil and clear state. And from that state, that's a good state to then set an intention for what you want to do. And I mentioned in the description, I invited you to bring something that you have been holding back from doing for some time. I have brought my own project and it is due today. And so later I'll share more about that. And we will actually, so that is the third part, to connect with your mental body. And that is a part of you that is like setting intentions, perceiving the world. And then from then on, we harness the power of this community connection to share in the chat what we will be working on respectively. And I'll share more about that later on, why it works, this social peer pressure that is actually positive, why you looking at me, it's called body doubling, will be encouraging for you to actually want to take action. And then from then on, we do the last step, which is reframing, thinking about how you want to feel. And that is really an invitation to drop in even deeper into your intuitive body and into your bliss body. And these are the deepest layers of your being within the 5 layers or the koshas in the yogic philosophy of your being. And by really harnessing all of this, then we are ready to take this imperfect yet inspired action on this thing that you have been afraid, that you have been annoyed, that you have been frustrated, that you have been avoiding for whatever reason. The reason doesn't matter. What matters is we show up, we prepare ourselves, we connect in community, we trust the process, we stay with the process, and we allow ourselves to be a vessel for what comes up in every passing moment. So this is the best I can explain this process. We will see. And this is, of course, my vision. And we've not tried this yet on InsightTimer. And I am curious to see how it will go for you, for me, and for all of us in our Tuesday tribe today. So before we start, how is my audio? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and also my video if you can hear me and see me okay. Because right after this, we will then move to the moving meditation practice. I will take a step back, and I'm using this mic, and I'll do my best to not touch the mic to disturb the sound. Um, and you can see, so the point of the moving meditation practice is not a workout, you can see I've been dressed not in any yoga clothes or any kind of fitness gear. This moving meditation is meant as a way to help you release. So actually loose, comfortable clothing is really good. Okay, great, thumbs up. Now, before we start the moving meditation practice, which is the very first part of connecting with your 5 layers or sheaths, check in with yourself. How are you feeling today? And you don't have to share in the chat. If you want to share in the chat, you are more than welcome. Is your energy high or low? Do you notice you're feeling distracted, or perhaps you are quite centered? Is the energy going outwards, or do you feel it coming inwards? These are a few different ways I like to think of or explore and sense and feel my own energy. And then later on, as I guide you through the practice, remember throughout this entire circle, I like to call it a circle because we are here together. It's not a lesson, neither is it a talk, neither is it a meditation or a workshop. It's a circle because we are here all together. And I have some tools that I'm offering you. So I'm a guide, but you are the one walking your own journey, and we are all walking our respective journeys. So it's really important that you honor yourself today and at this moment and every passing moment later, no matter what happens, and listen inwards. The word for that is interoception, checking in with yourself, noticing how it feels to be inside of you, all the spaces inside of you. And if and when I offer something, an exercise, a movement, a way of breathing, you may wish to, if it sounds like it would be appealing to you, give it a try and then notice how it feels. And if it feels good, feel free to go ahead. If it doesn't feel good, feel free to let it go and do your own thing, your path. I am here as a guide to point out the things and that you may miss out if you were walking the journey on your own. But ultimately, you are the one who is walking the journey. And I cannot walk the journey for you because I don't know what your journey will be like. Only you can walk that journey. You will see and feel and experience all the richness of your own journey and your own path. And we are here together, walking our respective journeys. Okay, so it seems like we are ready for the first part of our journey. So I want to invite you to join me. I'm going to practice barefoot. I enjoy practicing barefoot, and therefore I like to have a yoga mat or some kind of padded surface underneath my feet to protect the acupressure points underneath my feet. You can also practice with footwear on, whatever best suits you. So let's begin. So I'm going to move backwards now and adjust the camera a little bit slightly. All right. Okay. So, what is a moving meditation? So, some of you may have practiced Qigong and yoga, and all of these forms of movement practices, they work with energy, they work with the physical body. Moving meditation is a way of meditating while being in flux, while your body is moving. And the body actually very often wants to move. We are designed to move, not to stay in stillness. So it's actually a very beautiful experience. So I want to invite you to first, before we even start to move, let your feet come about hip distance apart and see if that feels good. You might adjust it slightly more narrow, slightly wider. Your feet might be facing forward. They might be turned out. They might be turned slightly in. Whatever feels good and stable for you. And one nice thing to actually get the body warmed up and to settle into a sense of comfort, especially if you've just woken up or you've been sitting for quite a while and then suddenly you come to stand, is to walk for a little bit and explore the space that you are in. And walk in a way such that you are allowing this movement to inform you of the weight of your body, the shape of your body, the texture of your skin against the ground beneath you. Do you feel maybe your arms gently swinging side by side, or maybe your arms are quite still? Do your shoulders feel heavy or light? And also, as you are walking, start to notice what's the natural rhythm or pace of your walking. When I first did this exercise, I noticed I immediately started to walk very quickly. And this comes from my habitual experience and my own tendencies growing up in Singapore, which is a big city. Everything is very fast paced. People walk very quickly at the junction. And then when I moved here to Italy, and even in some cities in the south, it is even more apparent, people are never in a rush. They take things very slowly. When the traffic light turns green, it takes a little while before people start to actually walk. Whereas in big cities, maybe you'll find the tendency is before the traffic light even turns, the color green, perhaps you are already feel that jolt and there's a sympathetic nervous response of rushing in. So notice what is coming up for you in this moment, and then see if you could, if that's okay, find the pace and rhythm and the width of the stepping that feels good for you. And this could be faster or slower than me. It could be smaller steps. It could be bigger steps. It could be in one direction only. It could be all around exploring the space that you are in. Of course, bearing in mind whatever space constraints you are working with. And then we're going to stay here for about 5 to 6 more breaths. I'll let you know when the time is to transition to the next part of this practice. Now, if this feels good, you are very welcome to stay with this practice. If you feel like you would like to join me as we transition to the next part, we're going to slowly find a spot to land. This might not be in the center of your yoga mat or your space. For me, I have to be because I am streaming, but you are free to find a space to land. And the most important thing is that when you land, it feels like a safe and stable space where you can land. And then once you found that space, let yourself land, whatever that means for you. And once you've landed, we're going to do a grounding movement. Using your hands, we're going to soften your knees and slowly, as if you're gathering from the earth, take a big breath in and guide the hands upwards as you lift all 10 toes and feel the rainbow arches of your feet. Let the breath rise And then as you exhale, spread all 10 toes and let them feel the earth, know the earth, and trust the earth. We will try this 2 more times. Deep breath in. And a long breath out. Great, let's try this one last time. Deep breath in. 3 is a great number. And then long breath out. Wonderful. And then from here, feel free to make any micro adjustments. If there's still anything small you'd like to do to really let yourself land even further, then allow yourself to land. Now, once you've landed, check in and notice how it feels to be in your body. Is there anything that needs releasing? This is the moment where we transition into a gentle shaking or vibrating exercise. And with this shaking, this could be a very gentle, rhythmic shaking. And so you might be hardly moving at all. You might be shaking really vigorously with big movements. You might be lifting your arms up, letting them come down. You might be turning side to side. Whatever feels best for you. You might even be lifting and landing your heels, pumping through the balls of your feet. The only thing that I ask of you is an invitation that you let this shaking move through you, whatever needs to be moved, to dislodge anything that feels stuck, that is uninvited, that made its way inside of you, and you want to now send it away. It's time for it to go, and you can let the shaking be a way to gently dislodge it, gently send it away in a very polite way. Now, as you continue shaking and clearing, whatever feels good for you, we're going to stay for about 10 more breaths. If it feels nice, if you want to flutter out your lips and release any sighs, any sounds, you can also do that as well. Now, it may look or sound different from me, but here is my way of doing it. Remember your journey and your practice, so you do you. So you might be very slow and gentle. It might be big movements. It might be really large sounds that fill up the whole space that you are in. Whatever feels right for you. We're going to shake and clear for about 5 more breaths. Now you're very welcome to continue shaking and clearing, shaking and dislodging, releasing. If and when you feel like the shaking has done its magic and you are ready to release the shaking and allow it to transition into stillness, then let stillness gradually begin to saturate your being. As you settle into this stillness, notice if you can feel the weight of your body, weight, shape, texture of your body. And then beyond that, feel the pulsation of your energy body, the ebb and flow of your breath. Maybe you also feel any tingling sensations, the beating of your heart, something more subtle that is like an ocean wave inside of you. That is your energy, the energy you are made of. Great. Now we're going to do a little bit more of some energizing movements followed by some calming movements. Before that, since it is winter season, let's warm up the batteries. Using your hands, we're going to rub the hands warmly against each other, creating some warmth and heat. Keep your shoulders as relaxed as possible as you do this. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, your neck, your head. Remember, it stays relaxed. Stay facing forward. I'm going to show you from the back. And then when the hands feel warm enough, reach to the back of your waist area, the mid back towards the lower back. And then you can take a couple of moments here warming the kidney area. In the 5 element theory and the creative cycle, the winter season is related to the water element and your kidneys that govern your adrenal system. And they are like 2 batteries that keep you well resourced. Another nice thing to do is also to circle and massage this area, warming the kidneys. You can also gently tap if that feels nice, alternating or tapping. Those of you who want to explore this further, there is a meditation audio that is coming up soon on my profile that is on Acupressure. And specifically, this one will be for the water element as well. And there's actually also a specific audio on this within my wintering course. Wintering Wonder, Warmth, and Magic. Okay, so when you feel like, okay, this feels good and I am enough, that's enough, we're going to now gently tap along the back of the legs. So using your hands, tap down, reach the outer ankles, and then slowly tap up along the front of the legs. Let's try this 2 more times. And I like to breathe out as I flow down and breathe in as I rise up. One more time. Okay, feeling warm already. Very nice and warm. So now let's come back to stand. Now we're going to do some spinal movements for the upper body to really create spaciousness in the heart and all the other chakras that are higher up. Let your hands come into loose fists. We're going to do spinal cord breathing. As you breathe in, shine your heart and collarbones upwards towards the sky. Your elbows draw back. As you breathe out, round the spine, draw the belly in, your knees gently and softly bend. So breathing in, and creating that nice space in the heart, and then breathing out. Every breath in is an expression outwards, connecting with the world, expressing who you are. And every breath out is a reconnecting inside of you, within you. I'll try this just for about 2 more rounds, and you might be moving faster or slower than me. You want to keep your knees soft throughout this whole time and avoid thrusting the hips forward. So we're still in this very loose and spacious position. And then when you finish that last round, let the hands gently settle and shake off any lingering tension in the body. Good. And now we're going to do a little bit of work to circulate this energy that we have charged up in the batteries. Now we take a slightly wider stance. If you are working with any sensitivities around the knee, you feel free to stay with a narrower stance. Only go as low as it feels good for you. In this stance, your feet can either face forward or they can turn out slightly. Whatever feels best for you in the femurs, the hip flexor area here. Now we're going to do a movement first to create spaciousness in this area. We're going to take a breath in, let the hands face up, and then breath out, settling down. So breath in, imagine from the root chakra all the way up to the crown. And then from the crown all the way back down to earth. Let's try this one more time. Good. Now we are in this horse stance position. So your legs are like forming a bridge and your hips are the cornerstone of this bridge. You feel stable, strong, and there's this wideness and spaciousness. At the same time, you are not fatigued. You are not trying to go as low as possible. You're finding that balance in between. Now, from this position, let your hands come sideways and down and take a breath in. So feel this support and this connection. This is where we draw from so that your hands can rise up and you begin to take this imperfect action that is inspired. And let this reach up so you connect with your intention from above. Then you soften your elbows and bring the hands towards the back of your head. And then from the heart space here, right in the middle, push outwards and then sit low and let your inner shine radiate out into the world. From here, let the hands turn face up, curl the fingers in, harvest the fruits of your labor, and bring that into your strength, your inner strength and inner appreciation for yourself. Then from here, the hands come in front of you, facing away from you, pushed around the spine. And then you set a healthy boundary and also you start to clarify what is unnecessary and you gently cut away and push away what needs to be released. From here, turn the hands face up. Take a breath in, realign once again with your intention, your higher self. And then as you breathe out, we surrender to whatever life brings us. Right? We flow back, come back to this safety and security. Let's try this 2 more times. So big breath in, the hands rise. Inspired but imperfect action. And then exhale from the heart. Express your true power, the true essence of you. Yes. And then gather inwards into this sense of contentment, this centeredness, the earth element. And we bring the hands forward, pushed around the spine, reflect outwards, setting healthy boundaries. Turn the hands face up. Take a breath in, align between heaven and earth. And then as you exhale, we flow slowly back down. Let's try this one last time. So big breath in, the hands sweep sideways, we rise. And then exhale, express and shine. And breath in, draw into you. And breath out, reflect outwards into the world. And breath in, align with your higher self. And then breath out, once again, surrendering to what each passing moment presents to you. From here, gently and slowly, we rise. Take a moment to enjoy this energy that is now inside of you. And then we're going to come back to this narrower stance that is here. And we're going to revisit the practice that is connected with the water element. Some of you have done this with me. If there is still any lingering self-doubt, we're going to gently wash it away. Let the hands draw and come to the sides of the ribs. And the little fingers are here. Notice if your shoulders have come up, exhale, relax them down. Knees are soft. Let the little fingers glide the sides of the ribs and then support the back of the kidneys. Remember where the batteries were that you were charging them? They're supporting and connecting with the batteries. And then as you breathe out, slowly glide along the 2 waterfalls along the back of your legs. That's the urinary bladder energy channels. And reach to the outer ankles and the tops of the feet. Even if you can't reach the tops of the feet, you can intend to. So let your intention be to touch them or to connect with them. And then from here, press down through the feet, reach your tailbone and your spine in opposite directions. And then lengthen and flow. Let your hands frame the sides of your ears, reach up, brighten your heart and open your heart upwards towards the sky. And allow from above inspiration, ideas, courage, whatever it is you need, let it wash over you. Let's try this 2 more times. So the hands gently rise up. I like to take a breath in, glide and cut, and then reach the back, supporting the kidneys. We begin to glide down, reach the outer ankles, tops of the feet, lengthen and flow up, 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 and beyond. And then when you are ready to receive, allow. Let this cleanse you, purify you, invigorate you, and energize you while giving a sense of balance, calm, and ease. One last time. So the hands rise up without rushing. We glide to support the kidneys, connecting with them. Your hands are the fire element, the kidneys are the water element, balancing and breathing out, sending it down. Looping to the tops of the feet, lengthening forward, sweeping up, 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 and beyond. Open your heart. And then when you're ready, allow. And now from here, we're going to transition from the standing practice to the seated practice. But to close the standing practice, we take 3 pulling from the heavens. So the first round, connect with the heavens, your higher self, whatever brought you here. And then as you breathe out, let that guide you, like this guiding light, like this rainfall that cleanses and purifies you. Let that begin to saturate your consciousness for whatever you want to invite in, not just for today, but this entire year, maybe the whole of your life. Second round, this time imagine you spread the wings of your heart. It's like you are a bird, a falcon, an eagle, and you spread your wings. You embrace the world you saw in the sky, and you land and return to the space of your heart. And you are not alone. We are here together. I see you. Last round, connecting with the earth. So the hands reach up. We are always on this constant journey to better ourselves. But the key to the future lies in the present. So from the heavens, we let that energy connect and pass through us. Let you be the vessel for this divine action, purpose, whatever is calling out to you. And then acknowledging this present moment, acknowledging where you are, who you are, what you are, and knowing wherever you are here, this is perfect. This is where you need to be. This is where you are meant to be. And then from here, we're going to slowly transition to a position. I'm going to be seated, but depending on what action you're going to be taking later on, you might want to stay standing, you might want to lie down, lean on a cushion, sit on a chair. Pick whatever position is supportive for you as we transition into the next part of our circle together. Now, for this next part of the circle, it is helpful if you are feeling supported. And we're going to do a breathing practice that will help you to connect with your energy body, as well as your mental body and your intuitive body. This is a breathing and visualization practice that involves both your hands as well as your third eye. So before we start, actually, we will do a little bit of acupressure. Some of you may already know this. In the center of the palm, you can find the acupressure point for the heart protector, the pericardium that wraps around the heart. So it receives and sends signals from the heart to the rest of the body, the rest of the body to the heart. It's like a cloak or sheath that protects the heart. And it's a very potent energy point. So we're going to use a thumb to press down on this point and then begin to breathe in. And then as you breathe out, sigh it out and gently release. Let's try this again. Press and breathe in. And then breathe out. Let's try again. Press and breathe in. And then breathe out. At the end, I like to circle and massage this point. You may wish to do the same or do whatever feels good for you. And then we'll do the same on the other side. When you make a loose fist, it's roughly between the third and fourth finger. Those of you who would like to know more later on, I can share with you the name of a meditation audio that can be found on my profile that talks about this point. So you can press on this point and then breathe in. And then breathe out. Two more times on your own. And then gently at the end, if you wish, feel free to circle and massage this point, a little tender. And then what I like to do is to rest my palms on my lap. If you are standing, you can also do this with the hands suspended. If you're seated in a cross-legged position, whatever position feels good to you, the only thing I invite you to do is to let the palms face upwards. Those of you who joined me last week for the annual the end of year retreat and review, you'll remember I mentioned that I really love this gesture. It resonates with me very much because in so many cultures, this is a gesture of opening and surrendering to receiving, to saying, I don't know, right? I'm afraid, I don't know, show me the way, it's okay. And I don't know, and it's okay. I trust. I let go of the belief that I need to know everything, that it has to be perfect, that I should have the plan, the solution, the answers to everything. I don't know. But I allow myself to be a vessel so that the answer, the solution, the process can arrive and surface from within me because I am divine. Inside of me, there is that connection with the divine. So we let your hands open up to receive. And in one hand, it is like you're holding the past, which is unknown, which is known, apologies, known. And we can rewrite the past, no matter how challenging, how traumatic, rewriting the past so that it empowers the present. And in the other hand, we hold the unknown future, and we can choose how we want to face the future. And then from these 2 points, imagine from the center of your hand through your arm and through your heart space, actually, and all the way through the heart, and then all the way up to the third eye. It is as if there is a mountain. So the 2 hands form the base of the mountain, and then the tip of the mountain is, later on, we will shift the point of focus, is first at the third eye. Well, actually, let's start first with the heart space, and then we move to the third eye, and then we'll move to the crown of the head. So connecting with the heart, while we connect with your giving and receiving, transmitting. Then we connect with your intuition, your higher self. And then we connect with the possibility, the crown chakra, the opening, the Bai Hui point, with many different names depending on which lineage and practice you're looking at. But the crown of the head, there's another important point. So before we begin, settle in. If it feels good, you can let your eyes half or fully close. Exhale and allow yourself to land. You are safe here. There's nothing that needs to be doing, no place you need to go, no one you need to be. Here, with yourself, in yourself, as yourself. Here is exactly as you are and as you should be. Guide your awareness to your breath. Notice the ebb and flow of your breath, like the ocean waves peaking and then gently dissipating, moving away from the ocean to the shore, and then leaving the shore back to the ocean. And the next time you breathe in, visualize two portals, one in each of the center of your palms. It is as if you can breathe through your hands. So breathing in through the center of your hands, through the past and the future, as well as the present that you are in right now. And let that breath carry and move through your arms, your chest, and then let it fill your heart. Then as you exhale from the heart, send the breath back through your arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, center of the palms, and send it out into the world. Let's try this a few more times. So from the center of the palms, breathing in all the way to your heart. From your heart, breathing out, sending the breath out into the world, past, present, and future. One last time like this. So when you breathe in through the center of the palms, let the breath carry and move through all the spaces within your arms, shoulders, chest, your heart. And then as you breathe out, send it out into the world, back through your arms and your palms. Now the next breath in, we bring it even further. Let the breath rise and flush into you, flushing through your heart, rising up through your throat so you speak your truth. And then up to the third eye, the space between your eyebrows, deep within you, close to the pituitary glands and the pineal. And here you connect with your inner vision, your intuition. Then from here, from this sparkling star inside of you, let that shine and breath shine and release down through your face, your neck, your chest, your heart, your arms, all the way out through the palms. Once again, breathing in from the palms, let it rise up through the heart, all the way up to this star, the third eye space. And then breathing out, sending it back out into the world. One last time at your own rhythm, your own pace. From the center of your palms all the way up to the third eye. And then from the third eye all the way back through you, back into the world. Now, last 3 rounds and we move even deeper. So breathing in from the center of the palms, let the breath rise through your arms, your heart, your shoulders, your neck, face, third eye. And this time it reaches your crown. And the top of your crown, see a beam of light from above, shining down on you like the light of Polaris and the Great Dipper. And then let that light enter into you, this pure white light. And let that begin to saturate and fill every space beginning from the top of your scalp, your face, your neck, your chest, your arms. And now it flows even further down along your hips, your legs, and down into your feet. 2 more times. So this time from the center of the palms, you breathe in all the way up to the crown. And then from the crown, you let this light that is guiding, cleansing, purifying you shine and illuminate and fill all the spaces inside and around you. One last round like this without rushing, breathing in through the center of your palms, through your heart, through your third eye, all the way to the crown. And then from the crown, receiving this light, allowing this light to merge with your own inner light. And then letting this light shine and illuminate all the spaces within you that need light, love, healing. And allow this light to once again leave you and also fill the space you are in so that this light, love, and healing can reach anyone and any place, any space where it needs to be felt, where it needs to be seen, where it needs to be. Keeping this connection with this practice, allow your awareness to return to the space of your heart. We will now prepare to transition into the next part of our circle, preparing ourselves to take inspired and imperfect action. Allowing yourself to be the vessel for the divine. Letting that creative impulse pass through you. Now, you're very welcome to stay here longer if this feels good, and maybe this is your essential practice and you would like to linger here today. If being with yourself, cultivating this connection with your intuition, doing a moving meditation practice is the thing you've been procrastinating on, then maybe you want to stay here and linger longer, connect with yourself, with this energy, with the divine. If you are ready to transition from here into the next part, slowly we bring the palms together. Let the left and right, we unite the past and the future and the present, that is the thin sliver that is in between them. And then gently and slowly we let your head bow down towards your heart, acknowledging this practice, acknowledging yourself, acknowledging the journey. And then gently and slowly we rub the hands once again. We mix all of this together. And when the hands feel warm enough, let them cover over your eyes like two curtains, two blankets, so that this energy can once again return into your eyes so that you may see what you may not have seen with your eyes open. And then in the darkness and warmth of your palms, when you feel ready, gently and slowly let your eyes blink open. Gently blink them a few times. And then let the hands gently wash your face, comb your hair. And take a moment to embrace this face of the person that is so important. You. And then when you feel ready, let's come back into our circle and we're going to get ready to move into imperfect action. So we've connected with our moving meditation practice. We have done a little bit of breathing and visualization techniques to connect with your deeper sheaths and layers. And now we are ready. This is perhaps the most important part. We did all the preparation to reach here. The first step we've already done. We've created a space where you feel safe, where you feel at home, where you can land. The next step is to share. Remember, you are not alone. And I mentioned this from before. Whatever you've been holding back from doing, maybe you've been afraid, maybe it's annoying, maybe you're afraid that you will fail. whatever reason, but that doesn't matter. We let it aside and we surrendered this fear. We let it go. We shaked it away as well. So now is the moment to harness the energy of the collective. And we're going to do this by sharing in the chat what your intention is, your heartfelt intention for what you want to work on today. What are you going to take imperfect and inspired action on? And we have about 20 minutes to take the action later on, and I will keep track of the time. But the point now, by sharing in the chat, is so that we are witnessed and seen by others in our circle. And this is a very powerful practice because modern scientific research has shown that when we tell someone we're going to do something, we are more likely to do it. And also, me being here with you, the image of me guiding you through these practices, there is a scientific name for it called body doubling. When someone else does something and you see them doing it, it gives you this feeling that, hey, I also want to be doing something. I also want to feel inspired. I also want to engage and be in that process. So this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to model it first. Okay, we've already got some of our friends sharing in the chat. Marilyn has shared in the chat, planning and inviting people to my first series of groove classes. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Marilyn. That sounds very exciting. For me, I will be working on a proposal for a client that I have been, I had made some progress, and then I had noticed my hesitation to just do the finishing touches, that last bit, which is often the hardest, and also the feeling of not knowing all the answers, like, oh, would this be not good enough? Is that perfect? I noticed this coming up even for me as well. All of us experience this. So today I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to share that in the chat. I will work on the client deep, the creative. Well, actually, let me type it. So it is actually a proposal for a client, and it's a series of creative retreats where we take inspired action. I work on the creative retreat proposal for my client. So that is me. And Deb has shared in the chat, working on my artwork and putting it out more on social media. Great. So remember, because we only have 20 minutes, friends, choose one thing. So if you are planning, if you want to do planning and inviting, choose one. Maybe you just plan today, or maybe you just invite, or maybe you strategize and think about the flow for the sequence of things that you would like to do before you start doing them. That might be a better approach, especially if you're beginning to do something and there are lots of moving parts and you're not quite sure the order of doing them. You might take some time to think, to sit down and write down all the things that you would like to work on, prioritize, and then that will give you that sense of direction. Okay, I will start working on this. And for those of you who have been feeling like, I really want to work on the artwork, to be in that creative process, then follow the creative impulse and just do it. And don't worry about, for example, putting it out on social media, because these are two completely separate tasks that require different energy. This creating energy, and then, for example, putting it out on social media, preparing yourself for how it might be responded to, that takes a different kind of energy. Michelle has shared, I will rework a doll pattern that will help me share my story. Beautiful. Elise, I'm glad you could join us. Yay. Elise has shared, I will work on creating a 6-week series of lessons for vets. Wonderful. And Elise is a yoga teacher, so this is what she's working on: yoga for for vets. CJ has shared, and will begin the process of resetting my home post holidays and gather the decor to be stored. That's great. So putting things in place, creating and settling into this new year and this new season, this new transition. We'll give just a few more moments for some more of these shares to come in. In interest of time, I don't want to want to make sure we have sufficient time for the inspired yet imperfect action taking, which is very important. So the last and final step, so feel free to keep the shares coming in the chat if you would like to be seen and witnessed. This last and final step, very, very important, reframing. So acknowledging if there is, you don't have to share what difficult emotions or sensations or thoughts might be coming up relating to this task, which is causing you to hold back from doing this task. Acknowledge it. You don't have to name it and share it. Most important is you reframe it from something that is negative into something that is neutral or positive. I'll give you an example. So for me, when I'm working on this proposal, I might say that it's tedious, it's complex, it's too difficult. I might feel unworthy. I might feel I'm not ready to do it. I might worry that the client might not be satisfied. Instead of all of these things and choosing to associate with these things, thoughts, feelings, energies while I'm working on it, I choose to feel curious. I choose to feel spacious. I choose to be patient with myself. I choose to be open to the possibility of whatever comes up for me in the moment as I do it. I choose to be affirmative of my inherent value and trusting that I have what it takes to create this proposal for this client. So these are some examples, and please share in the chat yours. So for me, I'm going to choose playfulness and a feeling of curiosity as I work on this proposal for these creative retreats for a series of uh, a chain of worldwide resorts all across the globe. And in the meanwhile, let me read a few more of these shares that have come in into the chat. Kira has shared reading into how to work and live with the moon. Oh, that's really interesting. Alexandra shared organizing and planning my monthly creative pursuits for the year. It sounds like a great use of your time, Alexandra. I'll leave a few more moments if any of us would like to share our reframes for how you want to feel as you are working on this thing. This is really crucial to share before we start working on. And you don't have to share it with me. Very important is you say it out loud and you say and acknowledge to yourself. Okay, a few shares have come in. This is also a good moment for me to switch the audio to another setting. Oh my mic has completely disintegrated. Testing the audio. Can you hear me okay? Let me know with a thumbs up in the chat if you are able to hear me. And okay, are you able to hear me and see me well for this next part? Okay, thank you for the hearts. Wonderful. That's a great affirmation. So I just switched to a different audio setting to make sure that for this next part, since I'm close to the screen, the audio can be good as well. There are a few shares that have come in, and I will read them out loud. Right. That's great, Deb. It sounds like you will really enjoy yourself. Kira has said, I would like to feel relaxed and curious while reading. Marilyn has shared, I will feel relaxed and there's a sense of this possibility. Johnny, thanks for being here and thanks for your confirmation that the audio and video is good. Lynette has shared, I will embody trust in life serving me. Beautiful. Michelle has shared, I will allow myself to get curious about the emotions that come up. That is great. I'll leave just a few more moments for any of these shares to come in, and then we will get ready to take imperfect and inspired action. Now, one last reminder before we do it, a good practice to do is to reduce distractions and monotask. And this comes from my experience and my training as a facilitator, a deep work facilitator for the world's largest co-working virtual community that is called Cave Day. When we do many things at a time, it disperses our attention. Instead, if we choose one thing and we just give our undivided attention and focus on that thing, then we really can enter into that state of deep focus and flow. And so, this is my invitation to you. If you are doing something, first, make sure you have all the materials, whether it is physical or digital, for what you need. If you are writing a report, you need all the things for the report. If you're doing meditation, you want to make sure that you have a quiet space, you won't be disturbed. Maybe you need the meditation cushion. If you're doing your artwork, you have all your art supplies. If you're doing your lesson planning, make sure you have your lesson planner or journal and writing. And yeah, maybe you need your calendar to think about the dates for when you want to schedule the lessons, and just have that. Notice if there's anything else that might distract you from that task, that might draw you into doing something else. Now, this is called busy work. And when we do a difficult task or a task that we've been avoiding for some time, what happens is the mind will then start to be like, oh, this is difficult. Let's do something easier. Let's do something more comfortable. Let's do something that doesn't take so long. That I won't fail. And so that's what happens. And we really want to avoid that by making sure that you don't have these distractions. So one good example for the digital space is if you are reading something on your computer, or you're working on something on your computer, you want to make sure all the other applications that are open, your web browser, maybe you only keep this browser. If you're watching on your computer, only this browser open, and the thing that you are reading or working on open, nothing else. Social media, phone, friends, if you have pop-ups on your phone from social media, can be very distracting. So I've actually, for myself, for a long time, I've already removed notifications from social media. I just schedule one or few times a day where I routinely check and respond and post to people on social media as well as WhatsApp. So this way I don't get distracted and I have my own undisturbed time. This is my recommendation to you to do the same as well. Let me read a few more of these that have come up, the shares that come up, and then we're going to get ready to start to take action. Michelle has shared in the chat, I will, she's already shared it from before. Nika, welcome. I'm glad you could join us. Nika has shared, I will evoke a learner's mindset and trust and enjoy the process when working on complex tasks or projects. Okay, so Nika, today's experience is to really work on the task. So pick a task. If you just join us and you're not sure what's going on, pick something that you're going to work on and only work on this thing. And we're going to get ready to start to take action. I won't explain because we've already spent more than an hour getting into this process. If you just join us on time next time, and wait until the end so that I can explain everything and the process to you, and then join us on time next time. I want to honor and respect the time and the energy and the presence for everyone who has been here from the start. So if we are ready to start to take action, for about 20 minutes, we will be purely action taking. I won't be speaking. There may be the sound of me typing. If you want, you can play your own music if you like music. And then the end of this 20 minutes action taking, I will ring the bell. There's a meditation bowl that I will chime, and you will know it is time to take a pause, and then we will come back and share our progress in our circle today. How does that sound? If you are ready to take inspired and imperfect action, give me a thumbs up in the chat. And once we have five
thumbs ups, then we are ready to go. Kira's given a thumbs up, Lynette as well. Deb, just two more, waiting for two more friends to share a thumbs up in the chat, and then we are ready to go. Welcome back, Pamela. I'm glad you could join us. And just one last friend. Who shall be the kind soul to give us that last thumbs up before we are ready to begin? Johnny, thank you so much, Johnny. All right, we are ready to take action. Action taking begins in 3, 2, 1. That marks the end of our 20 minutes inspired yet imperfect action taking time together. Let's take a couple of moments to leave a mark for where you might continue. And very important, before we wrap up this experience, let's celebrate and share in the chat how was this experience for you, especially for our friends who joined from the very beginning, or if you joined us halfway through or towards the start of the action taking. Let me know how it went for you. Marilyn just shared in the chat, I got a good start and then got a really important phone call I couldn't ignore. So I'll get back to my project. That sounds like a good call in a metaphorical sense. Kira shared, loved it. Thank you. Finally got started on my reading. That is great. Michelle shared, I really enjoyed this time of focus to work on my project and found that it was whimsy and fun. Bethany, welcome back. Bethany shared, this was great. I really liked it. And for our friends who joined in with both the moving meditation, the breathwork, and the action taking, did the setup help you feel more connected with yourself, more inspired, and more ready to take the action? Let me know in the chat. Marilyn shared in the chat, the process was wonderful. I came into this feeling refreshed. That's great. Anyone else, please feel free to share your progress, how this experience was for you. Share what unfolded in this time, how much you read, you worked on, you cleaned or cleared. And in the meanwhile, I will also share a couple of resources. Michelle shared, the whole flow allowed me to feel really present in the moment, having addressed the other pieces. That's great. Great to hear. The chat remains open. I'm going to allow a few more moments if anyone else would like to share what their experience of this entire circle and process was for today. And then in the meanwhile, let me share some resources. So for our friends who came earlier on and you joined us for the moving meditation, you may enjoy this Qigong meditation that includes a moving meditation that includes self acupressure, as well as some shaking to release anxiety and overthinking. So let me share that link in the chat. It's been very well reviewed. It's called the Qigong Shaking and Heart Acupressure to Release Anxiety. And then, of course, for our regular Tuesday travelers, you will know this, but for our new friends joining us, this entire process of just the action taking portion, the inspired yet imperfect action taking portion, is recorded and can be found on my profile. And it's called Tuesday Tribe. Beat procrastination and get started with Tuesday Tribe. And there is a shorter version, which is about 25 minutes, and a longer premium version, which is 45 minutes. So you can really get and stay in that state of flow. I also will share two courses on InsightTimer, especially for those of us who are tuning in. If you do creative work or if you see yourself as a creative, this course will be helpful for you. It's been very well reviewed. It's called The Power of the Creative Cycle. Earlier on, as I walked you through the process of the moving meditation, I alluded to various different elements and parts of the creative cycle process. And I go into detail talking and sharing about how to harness these energies and what these energies are and how they show up. And I also offer specific practices for each of these elements and phases of the creative cycle. So you can have a look at this course. It's been very positively reviewed. CJ had shared, much like Marilyn, I got a call from my sister who has been ill. Answering was a huge priority. I've set a 20 minutes timer and I'm committed to completing my task after the tribe session. That's great. Johnny has just shared in the chat. I joined late, but I caught the meditation and that was really good. I liked how your practice set us up for inspired action. That's wonderful. Great. Okay, I think this is a good place to wrap up. Before we wrap up our time together, I would firstly like to thank you and everyone and everything that made it possible for you to be here together in our tribe. Thank you for showing up. And very often, showing up is the hardest part. We just don't show up in life. We're like, no, yeah, we'll do something else. I will wait until another time. And then it's equivalent to saying no to ourselves. So showing up, that is the most important thing. And I'm glad that this process has resonated with us. I will take some time to for myself to process and see how I would like the direction for this exploration to go. My own intention actually is to create a community where we can meet regularly and go through this process, perhaps on a monthly or fortnightly basis. And my intention actually is to do this in a more intimate manner, not necessarily on InsightTimer, also because what happens is on InsightTimer, there are many of us who are very engaged. And then there are some of us, I will say this very plainly, there are some of us who are passengers, meaning we are here to observe, but we don't necessarily contribute to the tribe in such an active way. And I understand that in every single interaction, we are on a spectrum. Some of us may stay an observer, we may become more involved, and then some of us may become very deeply involved. And there's this give and take, and there's this reciprocal energy. And my dream and intention has always been to move from that space where we can reach lots of people. But then there are some of us who are not as committed, or some of us who are content just on the receiving end without necessarily giving. Just as, for example, in our chat, even though, for example, there are now 80 meditators here, there's some of us that are so engaged. We've been sharing and contributing, and this actually helps you the most. Research has shown the advice giving effect. When you give advice to someone else, the person who benefits the most is not the person, it's you, because the advice is specific. This is why in every single life, I always encourage, again, there's no obligation to share your energy and really give and also receive, and then we can co-create. Now, if I understand, if this remains on InsightTimer, then there are some limitations. The video will only be mine. You can see me, I cannot see you. The comments will be as such. There will be people who come and go, who join late, who have no idea what's going on because they joined late. And of course, no offense, because that's the nature of how things are and how it is structured on InsightTimer. And you may not have discovered me, for example, before coming onto the live events tab, and you just happened to see it and then you joined. And therefore that might have been why you were late, when in reality you weren't late. You just discovered me or this event, or you just had something on. My intention has always been to move from this more casual space into a space that is for people who are interested in a more committed and a more deep space where real transformation and real sustained kind of practice can happen, because this is when it happens. This is when the transformation happens. This is when the report gets done. This is when the house gets clean. This is when you really hone in on your intuition. It requires commitment. It requires energy. Just being a spectator will not be enough. And spectating for a long time will also not be enough. You really have to do not just the inner work, but the outer work as well. And this is why for me at this moment, what I've observed is, I think my intention originally was something, and now from my observation, I believe that I need a bit of time to consider how to take this moving forward. Understand that InsightTimer is a great place, and lots of people, it's a great space for us to gather, where there's no obligation to commit, to give your energy, whether it's to a project, whether it's to a group of people, whether it's to yourself. But at the same time, for me, this is what is important. And this is the kind of direction I would like to take with the people I want to work with, and also with the space I would like to create. So this is my intention. So let's see, Deb has shared, it's another form of procrastination, just watching and not engaging. For sure. And also, I must, and I don't mean this with any malice, but there are also some of us who are not watching, they're engaging, but only for yourself. So you might be tuning in and you went through this entire process, but you have not shared anything in the chat. You have not offered a donation. You have not shared where you're tuning in from. And I understand that, and that's completely okay. And this is the nature of InsightTimer, and I am okay with it. For me, after this experience, my intention coming into this circle was to see if this process could work, to see if this can help us, help me drop in into a deeper place where we can really be aligned with the five sheaths, layers of the koshas, to see how a moving meditation practice combined with the effects of breathing and dropping in and setting intention and being committed to this process of then taking action on something you've been holding back on might be something that would be worthwhile to do on a more regular basis and lead up to something, culminating to something. So, for example, having a fixed project, perhaps at the beginning, a group of people come together and we say, hey, each of us have something we want to accumulatively work on, not just casually where, and again, because of the way InsightTimer is, the entire of last year, since I think it was March last year, since I started InsightTimer, we started Tuesday Tribe on InsightTimer. We've had people come and go, and there are some of us who are regulars, and each week we did bring a different project to whatever it is on Tuesday Tribe. And we do see progress, but the biggest progress is when, just like meditation, we pick a technique. We pick a part of our lives that we want to make focused growth on, and we just hone in on that. We invest all in on this thing, and we're not concerned with all these other things and other practices, and we're not distracted, but we're just single-minded focus. It's just like in monotasking, and this is why I love all these different things, and this is why in qigong I've been practicing the same techniques for years and years and years. And there are people who are like, oh, I need to learn something new. And yes, new techniques take you to the next level, but also revisiting the same practice with a different level of practicing it takes you even deeper. So my intention Now, having spoken it to you and seeing and feeling our energies and observing what's going on right now in this passing moment, and every passing moment since the beginning of our circle, is what's coming up for me now is I am seeing and feeling and leaning into the possibility of creating a more intimate space that will possibly not be on InsightTimer because of all of these limitations, because of all of these restrictions. And instead, what I feel into is the possibility to be and hold space for a group of people, not necessarily a large group of people, a small group of people who are like minded, who are committed, who have something that they want to work towards and realize that will take longer than 20 minutes once a week, and that will really take a sustained amount of time such that we are committed to meeting regularly, showing up, going through this process, which takes time, putting in the internal work and the external work so that you can reach and achieve and realize whatever it is, whether that is a finished piece of art, which is then sold online, or whether that is a series of classes which is then planned and promoted and marketed to your students, whether that is a book that begins as a rough draft or just simply an idea, and then it reaches, for example, the first skeleton with a few chapters. So that is my dream, and I have always been such a person, a slightly more intense person, not such a casual person, because I really value and cherish growth and commitment and honoring and respecting and giving and receiving and co-creating. And this is what's coming up for me right now. And so, what my invitation to you is at the end of today's process, since this is a valuable process, and I would like for anyone who would like to access this process without necessarily committing, right? This I what my gift I would like to share is after today's session, I will do my best to extract the video from today's session and I will post it freely on my YouTube channel. So anyone who would like to repeat this process on their own can watch the video freely. And then there's no obligation, there's no need necessarily to commit to a group if you feel like you want to walk the path alone. And then for those of you who are tuning in and you're like, I want to be a part of this group. I have felt that this group makes a difference. I have felt that it's been long enough that I've been alone and I don't want to be alone anymore. And I want to go through this process and I want to have a guide to guide me through this process, to hold me accountable, to give me guidance when I feel lost, when I feel like not showing up, when I'm not sure if the inner work or the outer work is done in a way that is truly rewarding or guiding me closer to the next step. Then my invitation is that we connect. And I'm available on InsightTimer. You can drop a message to me to find out more about how we might work together in this intimate group. At this moment, as you can see, there's nothing set in stone yet. We are co creating this together. I'm sure over the next couple of hours and days, as time passes, as this experience begins to seep in, something will begin to arise from this experience that we have co created together. And yeah, I am here and we are here together and I am happy and excited and curious to see how this will unfold. So let me share how we might stay in contact. There's a circle on InsightTimer that is associated with my offerings. It is called Flow with Wenling. And that is also the name of my Instagram, my Facebook profile as well. And this is also the name of my YouTube channel. So if you really enjoyed today's process, or if you came late and you're like, I would like to know the process before deciding whether or not I want to join this group, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll receive a notification when today's session, the recording from today's session, is uploaded on YouTube. And then you can watch and follow through the entire process and decide for yourself, is this something valuable? Does it resonate? Do I want to be a part of a group, or do I want to continue? Or perhaps this is not the direction I want to go, or this practice doesn't resonate with me. I prefer something else. And so yeah, I think this is a good place to then wrap up. And I want to, before we come to the end of our time together, leave the chat open for anything that is coming up for you, for anyone, whether that's from the process, from what you've read from someone else, from the moving meditation, from the visualization and breathing, from the action taking, for example. Yeah. Deb has shared in the chat, regular accountability sounds really good. Marilyn, thank you so much for being here, for your shares, your commitment to showing up for yourself, for your energy. I think this is the most important. I really appreciate your support as well. Of course, your support, without your support, this would not be possible. And yeah, thank you so much. The chat remains open just for a few moments more if anything comes up for you. Let's see. Pamela shared, I'm always surprised how quickly the time goes, and it motivates me to continue. That is great. Yeah. I think it speaks to the part of like how this process actually works. And for those of you who, for example, even if you came late and you missed the moving meditation or you missed the breathing, like if it's just even Tuesday Tribe itself, and my dream has always been for those of you who have been joining me every now and then, or maybe even regularly, that it becomes your essential practice, that you don't just do it when I'm here on Insight Timer, that you find a way to do it yourself, just like also because I am a coach and a teacher. And for me, the best coach and the teachers are those who make themselves redundant. So when the student, in this case, the coachee, becomes so adept at the process that they themselves can eventually be free and not need the guidance of their teacher. That has always been my dream. And so, yeah, let's see, Michelle has shared, thank you so much, Willing, for sharing your intentions going forward. I've been doing the inner work and I'm wanting now to do the outer work. I look forward to connecting again. Wonderful, great. Kira, this gathering definitely helps me. Thank you for offering. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing and contributing, especially to those of you who have been actively contributing. Remembering this is is helping yourself. You're also helping others. So this is really, really valuable and important. So before I wrap up, lastly, again, you are welcome to reach out to me in any form, whether that is a private message on Insight Timer if you are curious about this group and how we might continue and work more deeply on this specific thing, like a larger thing, not necessarily cleaning the house or checking, going through your emails, like something that is really truly important to you, that you would like to manifest in this world, that you might consider a creative project that you've been thinking about for some time. And maybe you even started working on it, but it never quite got anywhere. And you're like, yeah, some regular guidance and accountability would really help. And this process resonated with you, then please reach out to me. I want to be of support to you, and let's see how we can work together in a group and how we can create a space for that to actually happen in a more intimate manner. And then for our friends who have tuned in, if you join at any point of time and you want to explore this journey on your own, I really highly encourage for you to create a structure for yourself so that you don't fall out of practice, and have a community, have a person, an accountability partner, a group of people to check in with you regularly so that you can feel empowered and you feel that someone is has got your back, is cares about your progress and your growth. That's so important. And please use the resources on my profile. There are so many things on my profile. The Tuesday Try process is recorded, and on my profile, there are lots of also other audios where I talk about time management and energy management hacks. I talk about meta practice, how to improve your practice so that you can practice at a higher level. And these are all the things I truly and genuinely believe in. And this is why I do the work that I do. And I really hope that these resources will help you in realizing what it is that you want to accomplish, who it is that you want to become. Um, let's see. Michelle has shared in the chat, community is key. Yeah, so much. Johnny has shared, thank you for offering to put the class on YouTube. I really like Qigong and I'm curious how that supports intention setting. Yes, Qi, let me share a little bit about Qigong before we wrap up. And Qi means breath, but it also means energy. It also means many things, the pulsation of life itself, what gives life inside of you. And in a similar but quite different lineage or practice in yoga, we call it prana. It is also the same. And gong means cultivation, it means the work. So it means the work that we have been doing, the inner work, but also the outer work. And Qigong it's a centuries old practice that is rooted in traditional Chinese medicine philosophy, Taoist philosophy, and it was created originally to to support us to live longer and fuller and better lives. And it was said that in the past, the sages who practiced qigong, through this intimate practice, they began to have a deeper connection with the pulsation of life itself. And through this connection with the pulsation of life, this then informed all their decisions, how they showed up in the world, how they interacted with other people, and also how they observed themselves, how they went about, um, and yeah, how they became a vessel for the creative impulse to pass through them. So I think in this is maybe the best way I can explain qigong as much as possible. And then those of you who are interested in this, in the pulsation of life in this creative process, I really highly encourage you to check out the Power of the Creative Cycle, which is my course on InsightTimer. And for those of you who don't have a premium account, this course can also be found on my my other profile. I do have a Gumroad profile where I offer these audio courses so that you don't have to necessarily subscribe to InsightTimer yearly or monthly account. And I know some of you don't necessarily like the idea of being locked in or committed to something in the long run. You just like the flexibility and the freedom to be like, oh, this really resonates with me. Just like some of us like to just pop into lives and then check and see it, does it resonate with me? It doesn't. Okay, and then I leave. So there's no obligation and there's no sense of like having to commit. And all of us are like that. All of us want some degree of freedom to choose to say, I no, this is not for me, or like it was for me but not anymore. And so yeah, if you want to find out more about this course, for example, maybe you don't have a premium InsightTimer account and you want to know where you can purchase this course or just explore and find out more about this course, you can also drop me a message and I'll send you the link for where you can read about it, where you can listen to the preview of the audio, and so on and so forth. Nika said, great session, Wenling. Thank you. I was here from the beginning. Really enjoyed it. One minor suggestion. Please, do you mind dropping the question prompts in the chat as well during the session for those of us who may have missed it? Thank you. Yeah, I will do that for the YouTube video. So I will post that in the either in the description or the comments of the YouTube video so that when you are following through it, it will you'll be able to see that. Yeah. CJ has shared, I'm grateful for your courses. Sometimes the scheduling of live classes is impossible. I'm no less committed. Sometimes I show up, but the class is cancelled, time has changed, streaming technology problems exist. Yeah, recorded sessions are gold. Yes, yes, for sure. And this is the other thing. There are just some limitations. I have been speaking to the InsightTimer team for a long time, and it's not just me. The other mentors on InsightTimer are also, why can't we have recordings, video recordings on InsightTimer? That would be really great for a smaller group of people who maybe would be willing to, you know, access this feature for a certain amount. Also, because it takes money and time for the team to have this feature, to build this feature, and to maintain this feature. So yeah, I trust me, I am on that side as well. And I understand that they have some limitations. They are also working with what is feasible on their end. And so in the meanwhile, we work with what we can. And so you can find more resources from me, from my YouTube channel, and from my Instagram, Facebook, my Insight Timer circle. On the Insight Timer group, I won't be able to share as freely my external resources as here, simply because Insight Timer has very strict guidelines enforcing us teachers to not share outside resources, even if free, with Insight Timer meditators. And I have no comment. All I can say is these are their guidelines. I have no say in their guidelines. And I'm here and I'm thankful that we can even meet through Insight Timer. And therefore, I am not complaining and neither am I objecting against their guidelines. All I'm saying is that if you want to receive these resources, the best way is to drop me a message privately because I cannot share them in the group. Once I share them, they are removed by an administrator. These are free resources, by the way, YouTube. I cannot share it in the group. Yeah, and so that is it. So before we wrap up, thank you everyone. Thank you for your time, your energy, your presence. This is so valuable. Thank you for co-creating with me. This interaction, this co-creation is very valuable and precious to me. And lastly, before we wrap up, I want to thank the Insight Timer team for making this possible. Because without Insight Timer, we would never meet. Without InsightTimer, there would not be the possibility to co-create together in this way. So thank you, InsightTimer. Thank you to the founders. Thank you to the team that are working hard, that have been working hard over Christmas and the New Year to support us to release these new courses and audio meditations. There have been so many new audio meditations I've released in the last couple of days and weeks. And so thank you to them for reviewing them and putting them out there. Thank you to all of you who have been supporting and listening, and I hope that they've been beneficial for you. And I hope to see you sometime soon. If you want to stay connected to know when my next live on Insight Timer is, the best way would be to follow my profile so that whenever there's a new live, you'll be notified. And I want to apologize to those of you who have been wanting to join my lives, but maybe they were rescheduled or canceled because of my work schedule. Insight Timer, as you know, as you can see, probably some of the other teachers have alluded to as well, it is really a passion project for many of us. We cannot sustain ourselves if we are only here every single day. We have to have other projects that are really sustaining us financially. So I do my best and I really want to be here as often as possible. And then, of course, sometimes also with regards to the limitations of scheduling the class, if I want to reschedule the class, I've already scheduled it. I cannot simply change the time from the back end. I have to cancel the event and create a new event. There's no way for me to tell you that, hey, this live that was happening on Thursday is now shifted to another time or another date because of this reason. There's no way I can do it. I can only share it in my group. If you're not in my group, you wouldn't know. And so I apologize and I say, yeah, this is the limitations we're working with, and we work around them, we work with them. Let's see, clearly CJ has said, clearly we're committed to you and we've been with you for over 2 hours today and plan for more. Thank you, CJ. And I really know those of you who have been from the start and knows time is the most valuable resource that we have. Well, energy as well, because you are here and you're sharing your energy with me. That's probably even more precious. And yeah, Deb, thank you to you for your shares, your comments in the chat. Nega, thank you for coming back, for your donation, for your support. Stay tuned on my profile, on the group, on my YouTube channel. We stay connected. Let me know how I can be of support to you. I wish you a wonderful and spectacular beginning of this year. I hope this year brings you lots of new possibilities, lots of new ideas, lots of connection with other people and opportunities to connect with yourself, to flourish through the inner work, and then let that inner flourishing flow outwards freely into the world, and then letting the world resonate with that outpouring of this inner work and outer work. Um, Last quick one again. All right, this I forgot to mention. Next week there will be another live. So that is the confirmed live that is happening next week, and so I will quickly mention that in case any of you would like to make yourself available for that. That is happening next Wednesday. It starts at the same time as today's session, which is 4:30 European Standard Time. I think that is 10:30 Eastern Time. For the rest of you, whichever time zone you are in, check out my profile, head over to the events tab, and then you'll be able to see that. And that is a yoga nidra and kind of a intention setting clarification circle where we will hone in and connect once again with the five sheaths, and then I will guide you through some reflection questions to help you set your course for the year that is beginning. Again, not from here, but dropping down deep through all layers of your being so that you can be really fully aligned from inside out. Remember, the inner work has to happen, then we can really take action on the outer work, and then there will be resonance with the world. So I hope I will see you next week, next Wednesday at the same time. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. My heart is so full. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, your week, your evening, and see you soon on Insight Timer.